It's a sight that never fails to impress. The Eiffel Tower, France's symbol in the world, watching over Roland-Garros with day one still in full swing. It was a day that saw former champions take to the court. They were looking to recapture their fire and their form on the red clay courts of Paris. There was heartbreak for home fans as temperatures rose with a storm brewing, while the King of Clay took centre stage to start his march towards title number 11. Hello, lovely to have your company. Day two at Roland-Garros. This is live at RG. We're with you for the next 30 minutes. There is lots to pack in, and here for you is just a little bit of what's coming up on tonight's show. We have Rafa Nadal and his march, the start of his march. Can he capture title number 11 here at Roland-Garros? Elina Svitolina puts together her postcard from Paris and seems quite happy about it. And Roland-Garros has its first fairy tale of the 2 weeks. And what a fairy tale it is. If you'd like to get in touch with us, we love hearing from you. Use the hashtag RG18 and you can find us through the official channels at Roland-Garros, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all sorts of places. Keep up to date with exactly what's going on. I'm very happy to say that alongside me, Camille Pin and Nick McCarville. Camille, I don't want to start with a negative, but behind you, all I can see is darkness.
No, no way, please. There's a side that is bright.
You're looking at the bright.
Yeah, this way, me, I think it's perfect. So.
That's why you're smiling all happy.
Yes, for now, but I believe it's not that good over there.
Yeah, it's coming in quite quickly because, Nick, compared to yesterday, we've got nearly double the matches to try and get through.
Yeah, 58 matches, the busiest day of the whole championships today. And we've done quite well, Gigi, to get through to where we are. We have a few important players, including Rafael Nadal, still on court. So hopefully, the weather's held off for us pretty well these first couple days. Hopefully, it's going to continue.
Just don't look that way because it's really bad.
So true.
And I think as it looks like the heavens are about to open, this is the perfect time to check in with Eli Weinstein. Eli, are you still outside? Are you still courtside? Are you wet? What's going on?
Well, hello everybody. A little bit of a drizzle starting here. Play is still going on. Rafa Nadal is on court. He's won the first set. He's actually down a break in the second set, but he has a break point back right now as we speak. He's playing Simone Bolelli. Rafa Nadal, a couple of numbers because that's all there is really to say about Rafa Nadal. 79-2 at Roland-Garros, 104-2 in best of 5 on clay. These two guys played 6 years ago here, and Nadal won. And only lost 5 games there. They're 5-0 overall on their career. And remember, Rafa is going for number 11 here. Number 11, it's absolutely mad. He's done it in Monte Carlo. He's done it in Barcelona. Can he do it here? If he wins Roland-Garros, it would be his clay court title number 57. So just to give you an idea, he beat Vilas's record when he hit 50. That's clay court titles, not clay court matches. So chances are, it looks good for Rafa, and right now, it's still playing.
And it's a good thing that you're whispering because if Simone Bolelli heard those stats, he might have left the court because they were way weighted in favour of Rafa Nadal. So Eli is going to try and stay dry. We'll back with him a little bit later. But matches have been completed. Nick touched on the fact we have so many and we've had so many to get through today. So we're going to run you through a few highlights of the day and a few of the players who have made it through to round 2. The best place to start is with the 2016 champion Novak Djokovic. He was second up on Philippe Chatrier, and after being broken in the very first game, he got himself back on track, and he never really looked like he was going to be troubled by the Brazilian qualifier. It was a straight sets win to maintain his record of always, Camille, reaching the second round at Roland-Garros.
Yeah, this is very good for Novak because first round, as we could see on the women's draw or men's draw, is always difficult. And we are hoping Novak is going to just increase his game in a Grand Slam like Roland-Garros.
Rediscover that fire and rediscover that passion, but Novak Djokovic is through.
Yeah, not as much luck today for another former champion. You can see there Stan Wawrinka working on his knee. He actually had the trainer come out and work on his knee for him. He said after the match that it wasn't a factor for him down the road, but he was up a break in the 4th set against Guillermo Garcia Lopez. You can see here the trainer working on that knee that had set Stan out for months last year and part of this season. But the 2015 champion facing match point after not being able to close it out in 4. He shanks a ball on match point to lose this one in 5. Heartbreak for Stan, who's going to drop out of the top 250. And he actually says he knows the situation he's in now and that he welcomes wild cards, but he also welcomes the challenge to play in some challengers and to dip to the lower levels.
A good day at the office for world number 2, Caroline Wozniacki. Now, it's still early, but the calendar year Grand Slam, it does remain an option for her. She could still end the tournament as world number 1. This, Camille, it's not her favourite surface, but she's got so much confidence at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Caroline Wozniacki is not very comfortable on clay, but she's playing so good at this time, and I think she's so strong physically that she can think, and the tournament again is very open. So I think this first round against a very talented girl from USA was very important to her, and it's good that she passed in 2 sets.
I thought this was a big win for Wozniacki. I actually expected Danielle Collins to perhaps take a set, but she comes through in straights.
She certainly does. And moving on to Dominic Thiem.
Yeah, Dominic Thiem had no issues whatsoever. 7 games, hitting 23 winners in 1 hour and 44 minutes against his Belarusian opponent, coming through on the bull ring, court 1. And really what people are looking forward to is his match in the second round against Stefanos Tsitsipas. They've met 3 times already this year. 2 of them have gone Dominic Thiem's way, except in Barcelona just a few weeks ago. Stefanos Tsitsipas was the winner in straight sets.
But Dominic just won the tournament last week in Lyon, so
yeah,
he's pretty confident.
He certainly is. 2012 semi-finalist, someone else who's got a lot of confidence is Petra Kvitova. She got off to a really good start. It was a hard-fought win, but she managed to come through. And this is a year to the day when she made her comeback from the knife attack.
Yeah, it's amazing for her to see her coming back at this level with this mental, it's different from an injury when you have those kind of things in your life, and she's very strong and she shows it being back maybe before everybody thought.
Well, it's just about a year since the comeback of Victoria Azarenka. We saw her come back at Mallorca just after the French Open last year, but today couldn't find her best tennis against Katerina Siniakova. And this was a match that a lot of people thought we were going to have Ostapenko and Azarenka in the second round. Not so much, and this part of the draw has lost Ostapenko, Konta, Victoria Azarenka now, and Venus Williams, but a good win for Katerina Siniakova, 22 years old, ranked 54th in the world, and a lot of people saying now she could get to week 2 of this Grand Slam.
Yeah, a lot of surprises. We expected that.
It still hasn't started raining. Play is continuing, but here in front of us, and Camille, you can see the players have gone through. Mentioned Stefanos Tsitsipas sets up that mouth-watering match with Dominic Thiem. Madison Keys, a good win for her. Benoit Paire, you're never sure what to expect. And Roberto Bautista.
Blonde hair, have you seen
Benoit Paire's
that?
hair.
Beard,
I love it.
Yeah.
and Roberto Bautista, a good going through. And Ernest Gulbis, who said, I've had a child with my wife, and now as a husband and a father, this is my job to do this.
Yeah, it's amazing to see Ernest in this position now, and maybe he's going to change something in his tennis. So it's everybody's surprise, but it's a good year maybe for him now.
Absolutely. Now we have a new feature on live at RG. Camille, this is just for you. This is I think we should call it Camille's shot of the day.
Oh,
so from
yeah.
all the action you've seen so far, and there might be people using hashtag RG18 thinking, I'm not sure about that, but Camille has scoured over hours of footage today.
Yeah.
What have you come up with?
You've been busy.
Yeah, I was very amazed by the way Garcia Lopez won today, because I saw him last week in Lyon. He was playing amazing, and I didn't know if he could, just keep the rhythm, and he did it against Stan Wawrinka. So for me, that was, just the guy of the day is Garcia Lopez.
Because he's 34 years of age now, we could say in the twilight of his career, but as you say, the way he fought, and it must have been Camille in his mind, the longer this went on, surely he'd become the favourite simply due to the lack of matches Wawrinka had had.
Yeah, and he knew he could do something, but he was very consistent from the baseline, very powerful. He was playing every time the right stroke, and Stan Wawrinka, maybe the knee was not very good and he was not confident physically, but Garcia Lopez just went and had this win because he had some confidence from last week, and I think he's 34 years old. I was telling him, you're not old, but you're kind of experienced now, and he was laughing at me, that you're right, and now I play even better than before. He used to be 25, he's like 70 in the world now,
yeah.
But I mean, he can see further now for the next 4 years because he's playing so good, and physically he's ready, and he showed it against Stan Wawrinka.
He certainly did. If you agree with Camille's shot of the day, hashtag RJ18. She's not on social media. We are working on it, I promise
We're
you.
working on that still,
You
right?
have a different
It's
shot
a
of the day.
challenge of JJ and Nick.
It's a harder challenge that maybe beating Nadal on clay at Roland-Garros, and that is our discussion topic of the day. What does it take? What will it take? What can it take? What can they do to beat Rafa Nadal at Roland-Garros? And to highlight why this is so tough, Nick, you've put together a few numbers.
Yeah, well, we'll go off those numbers that Eli started just a few minutes for us ago, because he's going for number 80 here at Roland-Garros. He's lost just twice, but then when you expand best of 5 sets for Rafael Nadal on clay, 104-2, and look at those 10 Roland-Garros titles. A lot of people dream of just one, but he's won it 10 times, and 3 times, Camille, he's dropped no sets on his way to the title. Also, 26 times that he's won here in 3 sets, in straight sets. So Rafa, for a lot of people, feels insurmountable on clay, and I think that's sort of the curiosity of all of us non-tennis players, for someone like you that would know how it feels to face someone so daunting. How does someone approach trying to beat Rafael Nadal?
I think when you see those statistics, it's just amazing. Everybody knows that, but when you see how tough it is physically to to win 10 times, it's something amazing. Everybody knows that. But to try to beat him, because all the other guys are trying to find a way to beat Rafa. Dominic Thiem won a clay court match in Madrid this year, so he had the key. Rafa Nadal was a little bit tired, but I think you need to be very powerful from behind, like a Dominic Thiem can do, or having a great serve like Marin Cilic. And I think it's the only way.
Yeah.
And going to his backhand and then opening to the forehand, that's like, there's 2 ways. Like, or you're strong, or you have a tactic that works and that you have to keep for a whole 5-set match. And that's the problem. Sometimes they find a way, but they cannot do it for 5 hours. And because it's very tough the ball is bouncing a lot, and it's tough to keep the rhythm. So to find somebody ready physically, strong from the baseline, and serving good. We'll see.
And I have a result to bring you. It is not Rafa Nadal. He is still
Okay.
going out on court, but it's an Italian who has lost in the form of Andrea Seppi, and it's Richard Gasquet, who's come through very comfortably in straight sets, playing on what we assume to be his favourite court, being Susan Longland.
He loves
believes
it.
maybe there's a little bit less
It's a love
pressure than
story.
being on Philippe Chatrier, and the love story, Camille, continues.
Yeah, it's Richard is playing very good, and we don't talk a lot about him in France. He just now plays without pressure from the public, and maybe it's going to help him to go through. And against Andrea Seppi was not an easy first round for the Frenchman, but the score is like, okay, now he's playing amazing. He has a clay court game. Richard Gasquet is such a talented player, and he knows how to play from the baseline, and he seems ready physically. So I'm really happy for him that he can do those kinds of performance here in France with all the pressure that he used to have when he was younger.
Yeah, it's about the pressure of the French players who play in France. Rafa Nadal doesn't seem to feel any pressure when he's here. And this one, I would like to bring in Cedric Pearlin, who we spoke to a little bit earlier, semi-finalist here in the past in Roland-Garros. He's the vice-captain of the French Davis Cup team, and France are due to play Spain later in the year, and he had this to say about maybe taking on Rafa Nadal and why it is so difficult.
If you needed to challenge him, what needs to be done to challenge the guy on this surface?
You need to have a guy who is like 120% fit and who is serving huge. I mean, and can do the rallies with Rafa, which is on the when again with the format is going to be difficult. I mean, maybe for like 45, 1 hour, he can challenge him, but after 1 hour 30, 2 hours, I think it's going to be difficult. I don't see. Of course, he have the experience, and he knows how to play here and to prepare and like to handle the pressure.
Thank you very much. Good luck against him in September.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's interesting for us.
I'm sure he's hoping that Nadal won't be part of that team. But it comes back to what you touched on there. It's staying with him. Dominic Thiem said after that win in Rome last year, Madrid this year, that it takes everything out of him. He comes through against Nadal, but he has nothing left to move on from there. Then you add in potentially another couple of sets.
Yeah, I think physically you have to feel confident to face him. And Dominic knows he's working. He's one of the best worker on the tour, and he just prepared for this Roland-Garros, hitting a lot the week before. He was playing a tournament, and he was playing 2 hours in the morning to get ready for me to face Rafa Nadal. Because
Wow.
then if you don't get used to it before, and I mean, nobody practices that much before a match. I mean, and I was asking him, Dominic, do you usually play that much? Say, no, I'm getting ready some weeks, and I think he knows he only has to be ready to, well, to make the 5 sets against Rafa, and he have the strokes to make it. But mentally, it's such a pressure.
It's
to
so
come on court knowing that you won't maybe last that long.
It's so difficult. I want to bring in Eli at the moment. Firstly, Eli, because I want to check on the weather, because every time I glance to my left, it's horrific in terms of it's basically black clouds to my left. And also this discussion we're having about Nadal, one of the 2 people to beat him most recently, Novak Djokovic. We were talking about this in the office, and you weren't really having that victory.
Well, first of all, to answer your question about the weather, the rain, the drops are getting a bit thicker, I must admit. Umbrellas are all open, and these aren't conditions for Rafa. And it's interesting because conditions are something that can come into play. But regarding the victory of Novak, yeah, Rafa was injured. So I don't think you can really count that as a way to beat him unless, you know, okay, he needs to be injured to beat him. But other than that, conditions are huge. And right now, in fact, conditions aren't great. And Rafa's a little bit off. So it's interesting that we're having that debate right now.
Coming down. The other man was Robin Söderling, Nick.
Yeah, back in 2009 in the 4th round. And for me, it's actually the trifecta against Rafa. You have a night like this, an evening, you have damp conditions, and if you have an off Rafael Nadal, now I don't know if Simone Bolelli is going to be able to do it, but today on Roland-Garros.com, they talked about Rafa being invincible. Is Rafa invincible? And the argument was made on that invincibility and the trifecta of if Rafa's off, if you've got conditions that don't necessarily lend to his play, and you have an opponent who's on, say, like Robin Söderling, like Novak Djokovic, and also I think the point can be made, Rafa's never lost here after the quarterfinals. That was a 4th round loss to Söderling, and that was a quarterfinal loss.
To be now.
Yeah, it needs to be early, and we say
Right
that
now.
about Serena Williams at the majors too. You know, back when it was Serena winning everything, is you need to get them early. Rafa doesn't necessarily have the draw, I don't think, as we look back to one of those historic losses. He doesn't have the draw here that would necessarily lend you to think, oh my gosh, he might lose early.
And Roger is not there.
Yeah, and no Roger Federer. But I don't think anyone thought that Robin Söderling was going to beat Rafael Nadal, right? I mean, this moment was
it was crazy.
completely unexpected. And yes, he did have the knee injury that year as well. They were in question. He had to take a lot of the rest of the year off. But look at this moment still. And Rafa's proven himself since. But it takes all those aspects to come together.
But it's, Camille, when people are talking about this, and Craig O'Shaughnessy, who has Brain Game Tennis and does a lot for ATPWorldTour.com, he was suggesting, and he started a bit of a debate on Twitter, what about the underarm serve? It might catch him out once or twice, but how can he go through a potentially 5-set match underarm serving him? He's going to get wise to it just because of where he stands. And then about the drop shot, but you have to be in the position to play the drop shot.
That's, I think, the most difficult thing about Rafa Nadal is the power that he has, and that doesn't allow you to do what you want to do. So a lot of players know that, okay, I should do that, but the ball they're receiving is so tough to deal with. And I think the conditions, when it's dry, the ball is even harder. Because oh, it's raining, it's great for Rafa, but no, for me it's the opposite. When it's dry, the ball is even tougher to deal with.
Yeah, of course,
And
100%.
how can you do, like, the ball is arriving like a lot of spin, and to try to do a drop shot, but how can you do that from 3 meters behind the baseline? It's impossible. So it will depend maybe on the weather during the 2 weeks, I don't know.
And just his sheer physicality, because we talk about Rafa in 3 sets and Dominic Thiem beating him in Madrid the way that he did. But for me, I question Dominic Thiem playing the week before this Grand Slam, because he's going to have to go best of 5 deep at Roland-Garros. That is a tough task to then try to play 3 weeks of great tennis.
I think we've come to the conclusion that we haven't figured out how to challenge Rafa Nadal at Roland-Garros.
We have some ideas.
We've got some ideas.
But then we have to do it.
We haven't answered the question, but I'm not sure it's a question that can be answered. If you've got an answer, #RG18, we would love to hear from you. Now, we were feeling a little bit sorry for Eli because he mentioned that the droplets were getting bigger, which is why we now find him somewhere very close to Philippe Chatrier and, most importantly, undercover.
Okay, well, this is the players' lounge. This is the safe zone for the players. This is where they don't have to sign autographs. They don't have to do selfies. They can chill. Here is the restaurant where they can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And as we go along, we can start seeing all the other services that are available for the players here, such as a hairdresser, a child care, a conciergerie, so if they have any needs to make reservations or if they want to get tickets for a show or anything like that. Transport is also over there, where there are 232 Peugeot cars at the services of the players to bring them and take them back to their hotels. In fact, interesting fact about that is that the #1 in the world and the title holders get their own personal drivers for the duration of the tournament. That's a scoop. Nobody knows that, but that's a service that Roland-Garros offers. Now here is the entrance to the player tribunes. As you can see, the best ranked player goes into the player box and the lower ranked player goes into the international box. The squads of the players, obviously, not the players because they'll be on court. Here is another, the cafe where they can chill out and relax. And right below us, in fact, right under us as we walk here, is the whole locker room area. Now, the locker room area is interesting because it has, as I said, the beautician, and in Suzanne Lenglen Court, there is also another whole set of locker room in a player zone with a restaurant, also all sorts of services to the players. And over there, what the novelty is this year is that there's a coach locker room, because for the male coaches to go into the female locker room is a problem, obviously. Anyways, this is the players' lounge. This is where the stars are at.
It looks lovely, and Eli looks dry. We're going to head back to Philippe Chiatre because the situation and the scene is discussions and talking about actually stopping the match between Rafa Nadal and Simone Bolelli. There we see the site. Camille, we didn't want to see the umbrellas. The good thing is they are holding them currently on court, but a decision will have to be made soon.
Yeah, they're pretty aware of what's happening. So if they stay on court, it means that maybe the game can keep going like in a couple of minutes. It's quite dark, you know. But they have like a service on purpose, you know, for all the the forecasts. So I believe it seems pretty good there.
It's so, Nick, it's so dark. I mean, they're not looking where we're looking.
It's very dark. It is a good sign, though, that they're holding them on court. The referees will be talking to the Met office about if there's a big patch of storm coming through, because we knew some showers were around us, but if they feel like they can finish tonight, they're going to keep them on court.
It's time for our fairy tale. I mentioned it at the top of the show that we had this wonderful story for you. It involves a player from Argentina who was nowhere near Paris when suddenly his name came up to play in the draw and a spot came free. Nick, you're going to pick up the story. I think the most important thing to start is explaining the lucky loser situation.
Yeah, so the rule changed this year with the lucky losers, because a lucky loser is a player that loses in qualifying, but if we have a withdrawal in the main draw, then they fill those spots. So they're a loser, but they're lucky, and they're into the main draw, hopefully to become winners. And Marco Trungelliti. We're going to learn how to say that name, right? He is one of those lucky losers. And the rule changed this year because a lot of withdrawals, a lot of retirements were happening previously in the Grand Slams. And so if you make the main draw, if you qualify by your ranking, you're guaranteed that money, at least half of it, in the first round. And then you can pull out and give a spot for a lucky loser. So at the French Open this year, 8 of them have made it in, and Mr. Trungelliti is number 8. And we actually start this journey in Barcelona, as Gigi mentioned, and he's been documenting it on his wife's social media. And you can see here, they got in a car and they were driving from Barcelona because this is where he's based. He left Paris on Thursday, having lost in qualifying, and they made the 1,000-kilometer, 10-hour drive from Barcelona to Paris just yesterday because they found out that he was going to play as a lucky loser, arriving in Paris at midnight.
And can we mention that in the back of the car, in the back of that photo, his mother and his grandmother, who had gone to visit him in Barcelona where he trained,
ready to go
for a
out
nice
for dinner
little
and
trip
say, "No,
around
let's go to
Barcelona."
Paris.
And suddenly, Mum, Gran, get in the car, we're off to Paris.
10 hours drive. Come on, Grandma.
Yeah, and
that's such an amazing story.
It
It
is.
always happens like it because he's so relaxed about the situation. We have a look at Grandma.
there's Abuela.
A la abuela. That it
Grandma-
always happens like this because it's such a great story for him. He just came out without any pressure. and the players, they always
Yeah.
do like fabulous matches in those situations. I mean, the legs must have been very heavy in the beginning of the match, but he didn't care because he was so happy to be there. And it's so funny that in the end he didn't play as if he was like directly, you know, in the main draw and just playing a first one. Everybody's under pressure. He was just so happy.
And I believe Grandma doesn't really get tennis.
No, she said, he actually told the press after that she doesn't know how to score tennis. And so at the end here at match point, she actually had to watch the people clapping and celebrating Marco's win for her to understand that he had won that match. The drive worth it from Barcelona, the last minute travel, and very cool for him. Now he's guaranteed 80,000 euros being in the second round. That is more than double than the 35,000 US dollars that he's won this year. And also, this is the tournament for Marco because 2 years ago in his Grand Slam debut, he beat Marin Cilic. Last year, he came from 2-0 down against Quinton Allais to make the second round. And he's got an opportunity taking on another Marco Cecchinato, in the second round.
Love this. Well, Granny's got to stay for a bit longer.
Yes.
Granny and Mum, we've got to get some rules to Granny because she might be here a while longer. It's an absolutely fabulous story. You can find that if you look it up on social media. You can see that video because you can hear the music. They're singing in the car as they drive from Barcelona to Paris. Hashtag RG18 if you'd like to get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. We are keeping an eye for when play is confirmed to be off or whether they're going to continue. They are still holding them at the moment. But we spent a little bit of time before the tournament began speaking to some of the top players about France, because if you're playing somewhere like Paris, you need to know about where you're playing. And we had Grigor Dimitrov yesterday. He knew France, he knew Paris. This evening, it is the turn of Elina Svitolina.
How do you describe your relationship with this tournament?
I think it's pretty good so far. Winning here in juniors definitely was the highlight of my juniors career and gave me that push of confidence. Yeah, I like Paris, I like being here. I spend lots of time even when I'm not here for tennis. I have lots of friends who are coming to watch me playing, so yeah, it's exciting.
Playing in front of the French fans, what is it like for you?
It's exciting because they always, you know, very respectful for both players. Of course, not when you're playing against French, but still, you know, it's nice.
Do you feel like you always hear the same phrases that they're yelling out in French?
Yeah, yeah, they do.
Can you recall any of them?
Allez!
That was good. What about your best French accent? Can you do a French accent?
French accent. It's embarrassing. No,
Okay, we'll come back to that. How
Come
about
back.
that? If you wanted to tell someone to come visit you in Paris, why? Why should they come?
Chocolat de pain. Yeah, chocolate croissants is like the best here.
And do you eat them when you're here?
I eat maybe 3 days before the tournament starts and after when the tournament finishes.
That's a good way to eat your pain au chocolat before a tournament. After, and if you're not playing in a tournament, just, I don't know, maybe every day for breakfast.
But she didn't say that her coach was French, Thierry Assion, and he should teach her to play like good forehands, but to say pain au chocolat. Clearly.
Maybe he
Come on,
likes.
Elina.
Maybe he likes the way she says it. Sort of a little
Maybe,
bit,
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
mixed
Chocolate
up.
pun.
It's much better.
Now, someone who can say it perfectly is Eli. Eli, I don't know if you're still dry, and I don't know where you are, but speak to us.
Pain au chocolat.
Perfect.
I am on court Suzanne Lenglen waiting for Maria Sharapova and Hogenkamp to come out on court, but they're delaying them. They should be coming through the entrance that's over there in the corner. They have brought the net down, and the court maintenance people are waiting for the green light to put the tarps on. The crowd is not happy. They're sticking around. They're hoping that the weather's going to change. It's not that dark out here. So from where you guys are, maybe the perspective is dark, but here it's not that bad. A lot of people left, though, and Maria is hiding behind the door over there and waiting for the green light to come on or the red light. So it's touch and go. It's really touch and go, but if I'm a betting man, I'm going to go ahead and say that there's going to be no more tennis for Maria Sharapova today.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Eli. And you can go to Roland-Garros.com when we are off air and keep up to date with scores and matches if they're happening. They are still playing on Philippe Chatrier. So good news if you're a Nadal fan watching and wanting to know what's happening, because Nadal has stretched his lead against Simone Bolelli, himself a lucky loser. It was meant to be Alexander Dolgopolov that he was due to play, who pulled out with an ongoing problem. But so far, so good, despite, Camille, the heavy conditions for Nadal.
Yeah, I think it's just to say that I was wrong now. He has such a power compared to Simone Bolelli that even if it's heavier, it doesn't make the difference against a player. Simone is a very good clay court player, but he doesn't have the same level at this time than Rafa Nadal. And we could see Rafa that is very focused on this first round, so it made the difference.
And I just also think that Rafa is in the perfect position coming in 19-1 on clay this season. I think he is primed and ready to go for Roland-Garros.
Now, a quick word, Nick, about tomorrow. No confirmed schedule as of yet because there are still matches. They're looking to see if they can complete tonight. But we have got a few names, including Serena Williams, who will be taken to the court tomorrow.
Yeah, a much-awaited Serena Williams back on court for the first time at a Grand Slam since she gave birth. She has not played at a Grand Slam in 16 months. We also have Juan Martín del Potro will be in action, Marin Cilic, Simona Halep, Angelique Kerber. So a lot of great matches to come, and maybe a couple spilled over from today.
Bonus from today.
Yeah.
Yes, I might get Maria Sharapova. Someone might have a very good
That's
ticket
quite
if
the
they're
lineup,
on
huh?
Susan Longland. That is all we've got time for today. If you are watching us and you're out and about in the area, stay dry because the skies are very, very dark. It's been a pleasure to have your company. Keep getting in touch with us. Use the hashtag RG18, and you can find us every night, 7 p.m. on the official accounts of Roland-Garros. That's YouTube and Facebook. And don't forget, we've got Twitter and Instagram accounts. You can keep up to date with everything that's taking place. We'll have a daily discussion. We'll let you know what that is tomorrow. But until next time, thank you from all of us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you again tomorrow.